Hello grade 9, this is Batul, an English teacher from the Qarib school. So in the previous lesson we have read the text about Scott's race to the pole. Now let's answer the questions above. Question number 1. Look at the title of the text below. Do you think Scott won this race? Which continent do you think he was going to? So did he win the race? So Scott did not win the race and he was going to the Antarctic. What is Antarctic? Antarctic is the South Pole. Question number 3. Read the text. What problems did Scott face on his journey to the South Pole? Write a summary about these problems and discuss Scott's journey with a partner. So, the summary of the text in general. Scott and the men on the expedition met awful conditions. Their sledges and ponies could not cope. Even the dogs had to turn back. They struggled through blizzards and eventually died of starvation and exposure. Now let's have the summary and the main ideas of the text about Scott's race to the pole. Number 1. Summary. Expedition preparation. Robert Falcon Scott led the second Antarctic expedition in 1910. Arrival in January 1911 and setting up a camp in McMurdo Sound. Number 2. Challenges faced. What are the challenges that face the crew? Difficult conditions with sledges, ponies, and dogs struggling. Eventually, only 5 men remained: Scott, Wilson, Oates, Bowers, and Evans. Number 3. Disappointment at the South Pole. So, what are the disappointments? They reached the South Pole on 17th of January 1912, discovering a Norwegian flag. Roald Amundsen had reached the pole a month earlier. Number 4. Tragic return journey. Disappointment and struggle during the return journey. Evans died in February and Oates, with severe frostbite, walked into freezing conditions on his birthday and didn't return. Number 5. Fatal outcome. The remaining 3 men died of starvation and exposure on 29th of March 1912, only 20 kilometers from a food supply. Number 6. Discovery and documentation. 8 months later, a search party found their tent and diaries. Notebooks, letters, and diaries describe the tragic events. Number 7. Legacy. So Scott's bravery has been greatly admired by the British people. He has become a national hero. Now let's discuss the main ideas of the text. Number 1. Expedition and arrival. Scott's leadership in the 1910 Antarctic expedition. Setting up camp in McMurdo Sound upon arrival. Number 2. South Pole disappointment. Reaching the South Pole a month after Roald Amundsen. Discovery of Norwegian flag at the pole. Number 3. Tragic return journey. Challenges and struggles during the return journey. Loss of team members including Evans and Oates. Number 4. Fatal outcome. Death of the remaining 3 men due to starvation and exposure. Number 5. Discovery and documentation. Discovery of the tent and diaries by search party. Diaries and letters describing the tragic events. Number 6. Legacy. Scott's bravery and the admiration of the British people. transformation into a national hero. So this is the end of the main ideas and the summary of Scott's Race to the Pole. Now let's answer the worksheet, which has comprehensive questions about Scott's Race to the Pole. Now, question number 1. Who led the second Antarctic expedition in 1910 to reach the South Pole? So the answer is Robert Falcon Scott led the second Antarctic expedition in 1910. Number 2. What challenges did Scott and his crew face as they traveled south? The answer is Scott and his crew faced awful conditions, with sledges, ponies, and even dogs struggling to cope. Number 3. When did Scott and his team reach the South Pole, and what did they find there? The answer is they reached the South Pole on 17th of January 1912, only to find a small tent with a Norwegian flag. Number 4. Who had already reached the South Pole before Scott's team? The answer, Roald Amundsen, had already reached the South Pole a month before Scott's team. Number 5. What unfortunate event happened to Evans in February during the return journey? So Evans died in February during the return journey. This is the answer, that he died in February during the return journey. Number 6. On his 32nd birthday, what did Oates do in the freezing conditions? The answer is Oates, suffering from severe frostbite, walked out into freezing conditions on his 32nd birthday and did not return. Number 7. When did the remaining 3 men die? And how far were they from a food supply? The answer, the remaining 3 men died of starvation and exposure on 29th of March 1912, only 20 kilometers from a food supply. Number 8. What was discovered 8 months later by search party? The answer, 8 months later, a search party found their tent and diaries. And the last question, how has Scott been remembered by the British people since the tragic events in 1912? The answer, Scott has been remembered as a national hero, admired for his bravery by the British people since the tragic events in 1912. This is the end of the lesson. Thank you for watching and goodbye.